So hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Amesie's Corner. How you guys all doing out there? So today is day one for Project Rally Wagon. The first time I'm actually going to do something towards making it into the traction wagon that we want to see. But the old lady's been driving it to work. She drives about 15 miles or so one way on the highway. She does that, there and back, 30 miles on the highway a day. And she says it's been losing power. When she gets up to speed and it's warmed up, the car doesn't like to go over 60 miles an hour. And when I drive it, I can hear noises, turbo noises, that sound to me like the catalytic converter is plugged up. So, got something we got to do first before we can start making the vehicle. Is I got a back pressure tester here, and we're gonna pull that oxygen sensor just after the turbo out, and we're going to do an exhaust back pressure test to see if the cat's burnt up. That's just maintenance to keep the thing going. Today's project we're going to do on the Rally Wagon is I got the cargo carrier basket I want to put on the roof. It's just a cheapo $100. You can pick them up at Walmart. No, nothing fancy, nothing expensive. We're just going to be hitting branches with it and throwing junk in it and getting it dirty and beat up anyway. But the trouble with it is it's too narrow to mount on top of the 9.5's roof racks. What you're supposed to do is get aftermarket clip-on racks, but the trouble with that is it's going to put that basket way up here in space, and I'd really want that basket to be down as low as I can get it, ideally right between those rails. So I have this here, just an old twin bed frame I had in my apartment, my guest bed. I figured I had to get rid of my guest bedroom in my apartment because that's going to be the new Amesie's Corner studio. So I had to get rid of the bed anyway, and I figured it would be a good place to get rid of it is to use it. It's regular mild steel. This is probably the same quality metal as this rack. So I think what I'm going to do is trim this down to fit. The trouble with this rack is it's about an inch too wide to fit between the crossbars. So I have to either narrow it by cutting these crossbars. I need to take an inch out of each one, which is kind of a lot of work. Or the other option is to cut them all right off. I'm only going to use from maybe here to here and cut these ends off so it's about the same size as that rack. The other option is to cut all these crossbars out and just use these side bars as crossbars and put that on top. I'm not sure which way we're going to go. I guess it depends on what we find when we test out this converter. So, the exhaust back pressure test. Let me shut the fan off here. So we got camera equipment everywhere at the moment. Anybody who does YouTube videos knows that comes with the videos. So what I have here is I have this Wagon back pressure tester, and all it really is a little fitting you put in your O2 sensor hole upstream of where you think the clog is, and just a simple vacuum pressure gauge rather. We can make about 2.5 pounds. So what we'll do to put that in is we're going to need some light. Definitely going to need some light. I got a O2 sensor socket. I'll just get a couple extensions. And so this oxygen sensor has a really long wire. If your oxygen sensor has a short wire, you're going to want to unplug the sensor. But this one has like a 2-foot long wire, so I should be able to twist up that wire neatly and get the 4 turns or so that the oxygen sensor needs to come out. Sometimes these don't like to come out easy. We'll see what we got here. Yep, nice and easy. And you just want to make sure the wire twists cleanly when you do it this way. And there it is, oxygen sensor out. And we'll just tuck that out of the way. Maybe let the tranny dipstick hold it. And we see our O2 sensor bung down the bottom there. And we'll take our little fitting. It's got an O-ring seal, so it doesn't need to be very tight. You also don't want to run the car very long with this on it, because it can melt the O-ring, it can melt the tube that we're going to hook up to it. And finger tight enough. Plug the gauge in. Now, what I'm going to do on this car, because I have a throttle cable, is I'm going to be reaching in and giving it throttle here, and we're going to be looking for pressure, any pressure on that gauge. So if I could have my lovely assistant start the car for me, please and thank you. And we're going to look at startup. Sometimes you got to rev a car. I don't think this cat's completely burnt out. I think it's just maybe half clogged because it still goes all right.
It would be nice if I had the keys.
You need the keys.
I do need the keys. Thanks. Let's try this again.
Let's try this again, folks. All right. Now we'll just let the car stabilize, and I'm going to rev it. Now, there should be no back pressure in an exhaust. This gauge should maybe come up to a 1.5 pounds at most. Anything over 2 pounds is going to be a clogged cat, so. Alright, shut it off. Well, alright guys, I saw that go up to 4.5 pounds. That tells me there is definitely an obstruction in the exhaust. So it looks like we're going to have to cut this cat out, and hopefully it's not that close coupled one, which it probably is. Well, alright guys, we know we got a clogged cat. Now we got to figure out which one it is. If it's this upstream, I think there is a close coupled upstream converter right there. That's what that looks like, that big box down here. That kind of complicates it a little for today. But it looks like there's another oxygen sensor after it. So hopefully it's not this cat that's clogged and it's the other one. What we're going to do is going to have to take that other O2 sensor out. So I'm going to let this cool down for a second so I can get that fitting out, and then we'll see if we can figure out exactly which one of these converters is the culprit here. Alright guys, I got this other oxygen sensor out. It didn't come out easy. It looked like it bungered up the threads a little bit. I'm probably gonna have to put a new sensor in it now, but that's what it is. That's what it is. So this is a close coupled cat right here, and then this is the downstream cat. Now we've got this sensor here. If we still have high pressure, like we saw that go to 4, almost 5 pounds on the upstream O2 sensor. Now we're on the downstream from this cat. If this still has high pressure, that means this downstream converter here is plugged. If I have no pressure when the car's revved, then that means this one's plugged, which is going to be a little harder to deal with than getting the California cat out. So I'm going to have my beautiful assistant start the car. She's not very happy about being up there. She thinks she's going to fall off the lift, but alright, rev it. A little harder. You gotta go. One more time. Alright. And shut it off. Well, alright guys, you saw that. No pressure, no back pressure there. So that means the upstream close coupled cat is burnt up and restricting the exhaust. And that looks like a little harder of a converter to remove. So I think that's going to be a project for another day. We're going to have to limp the car for another week, and I'm going to have to figure out if I can get a cat pipe for this thing from the Duke of Saab. So hopefully I don't have to do that sensor too. Hopefully I can get that to ram back in there and stay. So awesome, fellas, awesome. So it looks like we're going to get back to that rack. That paint's probably dry now. We'll let the old lady down. You want to come down, honey? You want to stay up there? Yes. Well, all right, guys. It's a hot one today, boys. It's a hot one today. I just locked up all the doors, got the shop locked up, and I got this rack all mounted. Look at that, huh? Now I got a place to mount my kayak. I got a place to mount my gear. It's nice and low and low profile between the rails, the factory rails, which is what I was going for. I didn't want to have it high up on crossbars. The crossbars would have mounted to there, and it would have ended up about here. And you can take a quick look at the install. So yeah, that's part one of the Rally Wagon project. Seems like in this case though it was one step forward and one step back with that cat converter. I was hoping the next step for this car was going to be a brush bumper. I want to put a nice brush bumper that covers these headlights, but I might just do like a push bar type thing to cover the grill and radiator. That way nothing will get into the grill and radiator. Depends on what I can find cheap. That was supposed to have that today. That was supposed to be today's project, was the rack and the push bumper or brush guard, but I'm trying to find one off of Craigslist, and lately it's kind of hard to get people on Craigslist to call you back when you want to buy their crap. You know, what's up with that? If you got a Craigslist, if you use Craigslist, check your spam folder. I think that's where most of Craigslist responses and replies go. Well, anyways, guys, like I was saying, I'm sweating, I'm itchy from all the welding and grinding, I'm hungry. The old lady's hungry. She was a trooper putting up with me today, coming and helping out. So anyways, guys, till next time, keep it out of the cabbage.